They all warned us, and they're continuing to send the alarm. Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, and Robert Kiyosaki and Coach JV have tried to warn you over and over again. Now, before we continue, all I'm sharing with you is my research and exactly what I have done. What I'm working to do is to encourage you to go a little bit deeper, to do your own research, and to understand macro and microeconomics. And what I'm here to tell you is every person is telling you it's different this time. No, it's not. No, it's not. Listen to me. It is an economic cycle that happens over and over and over again. It is not different this time. It is just different tools, a different landscape, and a different time. History doesn't repeat itself, it often rhymes. Ray Dalio has warned us through the changing world order and the big debt crisis. And on Friday, bank reserves fell to an all-time low, to their lowest since 2020. And then, boom, the Federal Reserve pumped money into the banks. They pumped $29.4 billion into the banks overnight through repos. This amount surpasses the dot-com bubble. The national debt in just 4 days added another $100 billion while the government's been shut down. And Las Vegas has seen 2 million less visitors from 2024 to 2025. American savings are drained, the consumer credit index at an all-time high. So here's my personal warning. And here's what I believe is going to happen, and I'll share with you at the end what I have done about it. So study the 1920s, the roaring 20s. Study the 2006 to 2008 housing crisis. Study the dot-com bubble. It is not different, guys. It's the same. There's always big, huge transitions. The roaring 20s, leverage was introduced where you can do margin loans on your stocks. You could give a bank $1, they'd give you 10. Everybody got super greedy. They got over leveraged. What happened on 10/10/2025 in crypto? 19 billion got liquidated from the markets. Everybody got greedy. Everybody got over leveraged. So here's what's going to happen. Crypto is here to stay. It is the new financial system. But what's going to happen by 2030 and beyond? You're going to end up with the big kahunas once again. 99% of cryptos are going to get wiped out. They're going to have to lower interest rates like crazy in 2026, and they're going to. And they're going to have to print a ton of money to make sure we don't collapse. But when they print money and lower interest rates, your dollar becomes worth less. And when your dollar becomes worth less and they print money, eventually we go back into inflation. Well, during that transition, this is the most important part, is the elites are going to take money, printed money, and put it into assets that when inflation kicks in, are going to store their value. Hence, the Trump family has made billions in cryptocurrency. Trump, as a billionaire, is the #1 holder in Bitcoin now. Barron Trump is worth $100 million at 19 years old in crypto. They created World Liberty Financial, WLFI, a world bank that's decentralized that deals in crypto and stablecoins. USD1 is the fastest growing stablecoin. They created the Stablecoin Genius Act. They brought Tether into America by Bo Hines becoming the CEO who was connected to Trump. Steve Witkoff, he started World Liberty Financial. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner have literally a line to every single world leader. They're making deals all over the world. They're gonna bring a ton of money into America through tariffs. They're gonna lower interest rates. Think of Ronald Reagan. What was Trump doing when Ronald Reagan was president? He was a businessman, Ronald Reagan, and Trump was starting casinos. The economy boomed. But what goes up always comes down. And it's always the person waiting for the hype, waiting for that one thing to boom. They get really excited. They over leverage, thinking it's always going to be here and it's always going to go up. It's not. So what's going to happen is Bitcoin will become the most scarce asset in the world. Countries will use it all over the world to balance out their balance sheets in a debt-based society. Everybody around the world will create stable coins and you will have a choice. It'll be an even playing field monetarily. There will be new payment rails, things like XRP, JP Morgan created, I think JPM coin, which became Links, Onyx, which became Links. You'll have HBAR, you'll have XLM. It's not a zero-sum game. There'll be winners, there'll be losers. Your job is to decide which ones are the winners and losers. And 99% of these cryptos that are here now will be gone. Because when regulation comes in, the ones that are standing are the ones that have real leadership teams, real deep pockets, and real connections. Because the game has always been the same. It's not different, guys. It always ends up with the top three. The auto boom, the dot-com boom, the crypto boom. It's not different, trust me. So that's how I make my decisions. So what I did is I created an ecosystem. I don't wait for a price prediction and wait for that to happen. As you're waiting, we're building monster cash flow strategies. Strategically allowing the markets to do what they do. When the markets go red, I buy more deflationary assets that have fixed supply. When the markets are green and everybody's greedy, I'm selling off the top and I put it into protection. When the markets go red again, I use responsible leverage to buy more cash generating assets to do what? Buy more deflationary assets. You need to study inflation. You need to study what happens when interest rates come down and money is printed incessantly. The dollar's collapsed 96 to 97% since the Federal Reserve was created. It's not federal nor is it reserve. And you're about to see the dollar become worth less and get sucked up into stable coins because stable coins use treasuries, 60% treasuries to balance out 1-to-1. You're going to see Bitcoin become the most scarce asset in the world. America's going to buy 1 million Bitcoin, 5% of the supply, and they're going to use it to shrink the balance sheet in half by 2040. And I truly believe those who hold the Bitcoin, those who hold the gold, Warren Buffett is in the largest position of cash he's ever been in. He's waiting for something to come down, guys. Well, look at the Warren Buffett indicator. Stock market is extremely overheated, guys. But the stock market is overheated. When they lower interest rates and start printing money, it's going to pump like crazy in 2026. But remember, just like you can't always stay high. You can't always be happy because you'd have no idea what it feels like to be happy if you've never been sad. You'd have no idea what it feels like to be sick if you've never been well. You'd have no idea what it feels like to be poor if you've never been rich. You'd have no idea what it feels like to be rich if you've never been poor. Everything's a cycle. And if you don't learn how to ride the waves, you don't learn how to diversify, you don't learn how to protect, compound, and grow, you're gonna get caught holding the bag. So what I personally do is I create cash flow. I have businesses that create cash flow. I take 10% of my cash flow from my businesses outside of debts and non-negotiables. I put it into dividends that pay me more cash flow, richest man in Babylon. I take my excess outside of debts and non-negotiables, my extra cash flow from dividends, my cash flow from businesses. I put them into deflationary assets. You don't have to do this, but I use XRP, Bitcoin, Solana are my top 3 by a long shot. XRP and Bitcoin are fixed supplies. They're deflationary. Deflationary XRP by its utility. And Bitcoin, only 21 million, one of the most scarce assets in the world, only 5% of supply is gone. So I'm storing my money in an asset that is deflationary and pulling it out of an inflationary US dollar that makes me poor every single year, and I'm crushing inflation. But what I don't do is I don't rubberneck and watch it go up and down. I pull profits when everybody's getting greedy. We're gonna move Bitcoin out. Bitcoin's gold, we're not touching it. But I pull profits in altcoins and I stuff it into protection. I secure my principal in insurance. These are not retirement policies. That's why they're getting a bad rap. Cash value life insurance is not retirement policy. You teach how to insure your house, your life, your car, you insure your iPhone, but nobody insures their money. We insure our money. My principal's insured. If the markets are doing well, I get market-like returns. Nobody can touch my insurance. If they're properly funded and properly structured, they need money in them. I can borrow very low interest from the insurance company, tax code 77028. Do what? To buy more assets, to crush inflation. And on that side, there's zero liquidation risk. Everybody's borrowing against their crypto, hence 10-10, 2025. All these influencers say, borrow against your crypto. They got liquidated. Now we just keep the cash flow wheel going. Capital DR, cash flow, into appreciating assets that fixed supply. Profit, put it into protection. We leverage the protection to buy more cash flow to pay off the loan. And we repeat the process. And then DR is de-risk, 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 because this is not new. There's a winner and there's a loser. There's only interest in the system. You're on the debt side or you're on the asset side. I'm sorry, that's how it works. Someone's winning, someone's losing. Learn the game before you get played. I love you guys. Warriors, rise! Get your shit together. God bless you.